Hi, fellow Earthlings. This is an update on the situation in the Orion zone. Since the collapse of the Nebu hive that has started in October 2021, a lot of activity is occurring in the Orion zone, what we call the Orion zone. It is called by the extraterrestrials or the Alliance Uru Anna, because this old world is not the Tami, it's not the official language, diplomatic language of the Galactic Federation of World, which is the ancient Lyran Man language, but it is Anunnaki, Anach language. Why? Because the Anunnaki used to own this part of the galaxy and among other stuff, and they gave it this name and it stayed. I may remind you what happened in September 2021. An elite of Eban, tall grey, officers were caught as they were escaping Dulce Base. These Eban were in Dulce Base because they have been working very busy with the dark governments and the dark military in Dulce since the 1950s, especially 1955, when the Greada Treaty, the agreements with the Nebu, were passed with the MJ-12. So these were the guys, the famous guys who were there, these Eban elite officers. Well, they left, they escaped when the Alliance won the war on Earth regarding extraterrestrial nefarious presence, where everyone was kicked out. Talking about extraterrestrial, non-Terran beings who were working with the dark governments. They're gone. In the reptilian side and in the grey side. Okay? So when they were escaping, they were spotted by the Alliance near a portal, near the Jupiter portal, and they were caught there by the Galactic Federation of World. In September 2021, Thorhan was part of the operation. He was leading his fleet there, and he played a role, as many others played, in this capture. The Eban were brought to the Excelsior, the battleship of the Galactic Federation of Worlds in the star system. But the whole Alliance were watching and part also of the operation. The Andromedans, the Council of Five, the Ashtar Galactic Command, they were all part of the involved in it. But it's two fleets from the Excelsior who really led the operations, Thorhan and another commander. These Eban were put in stasis just by a frequency shield before they were caught. So they didn't have the time to send a signal back to the hive, because when greys are caught, the queen, the hive, terminates them instantly. Then they cannot give location of the frequency key of the hive, etc., etc. Well, too bad, because this time it happened differently. They were put in a frequency lock shield, kind of in stasis, and brought in these stasis pods to brought in this frequency shield. Their ship was, and then they was brought to the Excelsior, and then they were transferred into the science facility and put in pods. They weren't dead, they were still their consciousness within, still linked to the hive, and things needed to be really fast. Denethor, the man who is Pleiadian man, high officer who is in charge of the secret space programs linked with the Excelsior and the science medical laboratory, the one who works with Meisha. Remember the mantids that Jean-Charles Moyen met as well when he was a child? Anyway, Denethor cracked the code of the hive. This man saved the galaxy. And when I say he saved the galaxy, he truly did, because you know, we all knew that what would happen on Earth would have an incidence on the whole galaxy. How that could be possible? Earth as a little planet at the edge of this galaxy, Nataru. Well, how could a little planet influence the whole politic stage of the whole galaxy? Well, because it is in the solar system related to the location and the situation on Earth that is Eban were caught and the code of the hive cracked. 4th of October 2021. A galactic federation of worlds sent back a signal, a message to the Queen. It was something that infected her. And slowly, the hive collapsed. When I say collapsed, the hive was instantly cut from Earth, from any communication with Earth. That means all the hybrids and etc. that were on Earth were cut from the hive. And all the little things that were meant to connect to the hive were inefficient regarding to this connection. 4th of October 2021 started to collapse, all the connection cut. Since that moment, I haven't given you more information because I told you that Orhan was promoted in the circle of high command on the Excelsior, which is not a big deal. He doesn't want to make a big deal, okay? But I didn't give you any more information on the situation in Orion since October 2021. So what happened? It took about a year to really stabilize the situation. So Earth was caught from the hive, severed from this influence and connection since the 1950s. What happens next? In about a year time, the civilizations in the Orion zone also were disconnected from the Orion Queen. And it was a potential chaos that needed to be straight away circled and managed by the Alliance, the Galactic Alliance of Nataru, very quickly, because that could have engendered an unfathomable chaos. So what happened? You know, these people who do that, they're very responsible. So as the hive, the super hive queen in the Trapezium cluster in the Orion Nebula was collapsing because cut from everyone, all the grays, and she was losing power exponentially and just withering to a core, really insignificant thing that is still in the Trapezium. Go back to the Queen. What happened to her in a minute. What about the grays? That's where the potential chaos would have come from if it wasn't managed by the Alliance. All the grays that were connected to the hive straight away were reconnected to their planetary hives. The Nebu was an empire that was a compound of many planetary hives. The Eban planetary hive, which has started the super hive, the Grails, Mintaka Grails. The Ebans are from Betelgeuse. Then the Mintaka Grails, Bellatrix Uganga, Zeta Reticuli, all were enslaved. Well, not enslaved, but their planetary hives melted as one together to create a super hive in the Trapezium M42 cluster. Now, so their consciousness go back naturally as the laws and the balance of the universe to the super hives, their planetary hives, I mean, their own planetary hives. So that's good, but that needs to be looked after So, and guided, that no more rebellion, restart, and try to rebuild the Nebu Empire to join hives again. Because when they're scattered, they're not powerful. That's a law that is a law of war, a game of war. You need to dislocate the army. And then some were relocated. For instance, the Grails were sent to different prison planets in this galaxy because they are it's more difficult to manage them because they're more aggressive by nature. The Mintaka Grails, tall gray Grails. They will, the system of a prison planet. I spoke about it a few times. When they decide, they take upon the choice to change frequency and turn into the peaceful side, they're sent back home. So hopefully that will happen. The Uganga Urugarog, excuse me if the name is not right, were scattered as well. Same thing. The Ebans were left there, but looked after, because they are the core of the problem. They are the ones who started it. So the Galactic Federation of Worlds has a big presence there with the Alliance, the Andromedans, everyone, and especially the Council of Five. They're all centered. Now the whole attention of the galaxy is centered on the Orion zone. That's why they are hyper busy, and I haven't been given the right to talk about it for a year at a time, that for safety reasons, and that this doesn't interfere with their operations. What about the Queen? She's now reduced to a miserable little core, and she's dying. The Galactic Federation of Worlds wants one thing: terminate her. Also, because it's not that she's suffering, she's not a biological being. That's a reason, an excuse. Oh, she's suffering, let's terminate her. No, they just freaking want to finish with her. She's been like bothering everyone for millennia. The Orion Wars and everything. That was her. They want her dead. Dislocated. They want her dead. But the thing is, the Galactic Federation of Worlds needs the avail of the whole alliance, but at this stage I think the whole alliance agrees. Now, there is a hierarchy above them, above the alliance of Nataru. The Intergalactic Confederation, with the group of the Seeders, they need to say their word on that. I'm pretty much confident that they will join the idea of the Federation. It will happen very quickly. The Queen is dead. Long live nothing, because that's over. But there's a third party that needs to be mentioned: the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki are widespread throughout this galaxy. There are different branches. They are originally from Butes, as Alex Collier revealed. And from there, they developed into colonies everywhere. There's the main empire of Anunnaki, which is actually called the Old Empire, used to own Nataru. They used to own the whole galaxy, except when at the height of their expansion, there was one quadrant that they didn't own. It was a quadrant belonging to a civilization of, I'm not sure if they are Greys. I'll have to get that confirmed, but they are species of their own. Their name is Quer. Quer. They are more venomous than anything you've known. The equivalent to the Neguma Gnomopo from Antares as a war power. Fortunately, the Gnomopo from Antares are our allies now, and that's very good. Very good. We maybe will have the Quer as an ally, But they're unstable. You don't really... It's difficult to know their intention, and, what they have in their minds. I do not know much about the Quer. I haven't been shown how they look like. We need the Anunnaki because the Anunnaki are the only civilization in this galaxy who managed to have a treaty of peace and non-intervention and non-aggression with the Quer. So as long as the Anunnaki hold the Orion zone and our quadrant as their circumscription and their custody, it's tolerated and they work now. I'm going to develop that. But as long as they are here, they have the custody of the Orion zone and our arm of the galaxy. The Quer will never come here. Okay? If one day the Anunnaki are gone, the Quer will come. And we do not know what that can generate, That's a known factor. The old empire of the Anunnaki withdrew when the Nebu Empire grew at the time of the Orion Wars. And at that time already, the Ashtari Empire of Anu didn't have much more power than before. So they withdrew. They interestingly were not powerful enough to confront the Nebu Empire at its height. Anu, the High King of the Ashtari branch of the Anunnaki, has its own ethics. Is very complex, is not human, and the way he thinks and he wants to behave and his choices, and it's peculiar to him. It's not like a human would react, like, oh no, let's save these people in the Orion zone, let's not run away like cowards. Anu thought differently, said, this is not a war I want to engage my empire in. Let's withdraw and let them deal with that. Anu, I have to say, is a little bit like this. I start to know more and more about him. And when the trial of Enlil occurred a few months ago, he was like, he hadn't cared until now. And it was the Intergalactic Confederation with the Alliance which had to summon him or to request him to come down and, hey, won't you do anything? Like, Enlil is your responsibility. Come on. And that was an extraordinary council that I described, and I was allowed to attend holographically. That means I wasn't there physically. I was there as my holographic projection, as all councils usually happen. Anu now has been back. You know that Enki, Princia, has been back. Well, when we say prince or high king, it's not because they are superior to us. It's their titles, because it's their family, it's their personal titles, So it's not important to us, okay? Just let us not call them lord or band, or let us consider ourselves as equals, okay? That's very important. Since the Sikar Empire was cast away and suffered tremendous loss from the Alliance, since the Nebu Empire was collapsing, the Cedars and the Intergalactic Confederation arrived and in the situation, in the place, and he came back with the Nibiru ship and his army of Elohim, as you can call them, but in fact it's the Intergalactic Confederation and his Anunnaki people, because he is not on his own in this Nibiru huge mothership. Okay. Anu and the old empire, the old Ashtari Empire, Why Ashtari? Ashtari, its name means that it was centered in Sirius. The seat of the Ashtari Empire was centered in Sirius. Okay, and they ruled. They had a big, powerful presence in the whole zone, the whole quadrant. So that's why Orion was the first seat for them. Now, of course, Anu has his word to say about terminating the queen and taking back what was taken by the Nebu. But now there's a change. And Cedars and the Alliance are there to work on diplomatic agreements with Anu. Not forgetting the Council of Five of Al-Nilam, who used to take care of the balance in the Orion zone. What I have been informed of these diplomatic treaties, as now I can tell about it because they have been pretty much sealed, is that Anu is temporarily, as a transition period, the custodian of the Orion zone to protect the Orion zone from the Quer and anything else. And in his protection, the transfer is slowly passed onto the custody of the Council of Five. Well, I would say not the custody, the good care of the Council of Five of Al-Nilam. The Council of Five of Al-Nilam is now going to have the main, not control, guidance and administrative role for the whole Orion zone, okay? Anu will be like symbolical monarchy behind, because he will remain custodian of this zone, but without doing anything, without not interfering anymore, just to protect and secure regarding the Quer. The Quer want only to treat with the Anunnaki. They don't want to treat with anyone else. So we need the Anunnaki. We need the Anu branch, okay? The Anu royal family. Regarding the Ashtari Empire, okay, they have the Orion zone, they have our arm of the galaxy, our quadrant, but they lost a lot with time, and they're not a very expanded empire now. They have maybe 1/3 of the custody of the galaxy scattered a bit. So it's an old, decrepit empire, and Anu is not interested in expansion anymore. He's just interested in maintaining peace now. And he doesn't want any trouble. He's like, ugh, he doesn't like troubles, you know, not like Enlil. What is happening in the Orion zone is the result of what has happened in the solar system. As the predictions foretold, Earth was the main crucial factor and key to liberate the whole Nataru galaxy. It has happened. So now the Greys are reforming their hives, planetary hives. Every single planetary hive that was connected to the superhive queen is now looked after and controlled for the transition by the Alliance, making sure they will be okay and they will reform as a peaceful planetary culture, and that it will not seek for war, and there will be, for a time, a control of the Council of Five on these cultures until they make sure they are independently peaceful and non-aggressive. So that's how the Council of Five is going to work. Now, as a last point, I may speak about the Alliance of the Six that was created by the Nebu. The Alliance of the Six included, because now it's dislocated, included at its head the Nebu. It was an alliance of interest and commerce and, Nebu, Sikar Empire, Maitra from Andromeda, Solipsirai from Cygnus, Zeta Reticuli small grays, there's no tall grays in Zeta Reticuli, and Kilitokurt, Vela. These 6 people, 6 civilizations are now on their own. This agreement of the Alliance of the 6 has gone. It's gone. It's gone. The Alliance of the 6 doesn't exist anymore. It's everyone for themselves now. The Sikar Empire has so much to deal on their own now. So, and the Negumak have an eye on them now because we passed agreements with them. So, the Kilitokurt, they are traders. So, they'll go where the wind turns, We don't have to mind them. It's not a big deal. The Cygnus Solipsirai also, they do whatever they want. The Zeta Reticuli, they are reforming their planetary hive, but that's very lot of work there because they were really damaged. There's no more biological entity living there. It's only synthetics. The Nebu have just slaughtered everyone long ago, and now it's only synthetic clones, but they're there and they're conscious, they're sentient, so they need help. So the Alliance is working there as well. That's it. So there is no more fear, rebellion, war, combat related to the Nebu. It's gone. The Nebu Empire, the dominion, is no more.